Okay. Hey you guys, it's MJ. Welcome back to Pet Adventures again. So today is going to be a video that I have kind of not wanted to do ever since I even started this channel because of a lot of reasons, which I know that you guys already know of. But if you're not already seeing the title of this video, you kind of know what this is going to be about. And the reason why I have dreaded this for so long is because you guys know I'm very real. I don't really want to hide things from you guys when it comes to my pets. And you guys know that my BETTA Fish Candy has been sick for a very long time. And if you hear any screaming, just remember, I don't live in the best neighborhood. So, peace. That was not meant to be offensive. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah. I have just hesitated making this video because my BETTA Fish Candy has been sick, and also, as you guys know, my other BETTA Fish before him that I had for about 2 years or so, he died. So, you guys know Zen. He was a really cute BETTA Fish, but he unfortunately died, and Candy is not looking too well either. Now, I want you guys to know that just because some of the things I know make me a little bit more professional than a regular person would, it doesn't necessarily mean in any way that I am an absolute professional and that I know everything there is to know. I make mistakes like a normal human being would, and I try to teach you guys to not make the same mistakes when I do make these mistakes. As you guys know, a lot of the things I know are from mainly experience. But I did get a new BETTA Fish Axel, and there is a very, very, very low chance that he will really ever get the chance of getting sick. I have in no way, not taken care of him so far. I am staying on top of everything, and I am learning from my mistakes, so. And the only reason why Candy has gotten sick too is because he just got sick around the same time Zen did, unfortunately. So it's not like I could get ahead of anything and kind of, prevent anything from happening to him. They kind of got sick around the same time. Long story short, when I got them, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know too much about BETTA Fish. Now I do. I know everything there is to know just about with BETTA Fish. But, unfortunately it was a little too late in some situations. I hope you guys enjoyed this care video. This is BETTA Fish Care, and BETTA Fish are wonderful fish, and I do believe that everyone should have them. They are the perfect starter fish just because, as you can tell, they tolerate a lot, So just one more thing I have to say is the good thing about me having these bad experiences with my BETTA Fish is I do know how to actually medicate them pretty well. Candy has shown some signs of improvement, but still some signs of illness, so all you guys, please just pray for him. I do believe in that. I believe that prayer always works with everything, so please pray for him and hope that he gets better. And without further ado, let's start this video officially. So to start off, if you are looking for a beginner fish, BETTA Fish are definitely the way to go. They are super duper cute. They come in all kinds of wonderful colors and tail types, and the care is really simple because to start off with the tank, I would say that you could get a 2-gallon tank or bigger. That is what I have for my fish. So I believe Candy is in a 2-gallon, and I think Axel's like in a 2.5. I'm not sure actually, but it's around that around that size. Never get a 1-gallon for your BETTA Fish. Never ever put it in a bowl or a cup or anything like that. That is way too small. But going from about 2.5 gallons or 2 gallons and up is a good size. I have the size only because that is as much as I can fit them. Believe it or not, there are a lot of people out there that I had to encounter when I was working at the retail shop, the pet stores. I encountered a lot of people that didn't even want to get 2 gallons. 2 gallons. No, they didn't even want to get that. So that's really unfortunate. So if you could at least do that or bigger, that's a great tank to start off with. I do recommend that if you have the space, get the biggest tank you can. I would say a 10-gallon tank is perfect for a BETTA Fish, and even a 5-gallon is really great. So if you can get that size range, if you absolutely have the space for it, I would definitely get it. So if you have the space, get a 5-gallon or 10-gallon. Now I do have male bettas, which is what most people keep. If you do keep girl bettas, you can actually keep them in a group. I would never recommend getting only 2 girls though. 3 or more is usually what you would be doing if you were to get girls. A lot of the time, girl bettas will chase each other in the tank. Usually this isn't really something to worry about too much. It is quite normal for them to be doing that. And as you guys might know, the male bettas can never ever have a buddy. There's no such thing as a male betta fish wanting a buddy. That does not happen. Odd enough, they just hate their own kind. So if you have 2 male betta fish and you stick them in the same tank, someone will be dead by morning. So keep that in mind. When it comes to cleaning your tank, you want to be cleaning at least once every single week. I would never ever 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 recommend going over a week. And this is actually the reason why my one betta fish died and the other is sick. I would go a whole month without cleaning it, and you know, I would clean it like once a month basically, which is not something you should do. What I did is an example of why you should not do it, okay? Now I clean the water every single week. Also, when it comes to lighting, I wouldn't do too much lighting all the time. Betta fish don't normally like a lot of light in their tank. So if you get a light that comes with your Betta Fish kit or something, I would say have it on around in the morning. You could start it around like 11 a.m. and then turn it off like maybe around 6 p.m. There's no real reason unless you are having a tank where you have a lot of live plants, and in that case you may want to keep the light on a little bit longer, because if you are trying to grow plants in your tank, let's say you have like a 10-gallon tank or something and it's just your one Betta Fish, or maybe you have your sorority, you know, where you have a group of females, you can keep the light on a little bit more in there. But just keep in mind that you're going to need a lot of caves and little houses and stuff like that. As you can see here, Candy has this little castle here, and the reason for that is because Betta fish do not like a lot of light. That being said, you do want to have light on, just not all the time, like constantly, because they do want to hide in their little caves if they get too much light. So just keep it minimal. As far as feeding, I feed about 5 to 7 pellets, and yes, my Betta fish do eat all those pellets. 5 to 7 pellets. If you want, you can do about 4. They don't need more than that though. I feed about 7 of those every day. Once every single day I feed them. And I feed them the Spectrum, New Life Spectrum pellets. These are high quality pellets, and keep in mind that also Betta fish are carnivores. They only like meaty stuff, so things like bloodworms and shrimp, all that kind of stuff. Like the shrimp is usually like in their diets. You can also feed them just plain bloodworms. They love those so much. That's a great treat if you want them to do that. They usually like a lot of meat in their diets, so they are carnivores. As far as substrate, you can use absolutely anything you want. When they're eating, they're not going to get impacted. They're not like a goldfish where they're always at the bottom nipping, always at the top nipping, so they're not going to get impacted. Whereas goldfish, if you give them a gravel type substrate, and we have learned this from personal experience, the goldfish can actually get the gravel stuck in their mouth and they can die. Like, they can swallow the gravel or get impacted, and I believe it would probably be the same with like sand. So, you know, it's not like that with the Betta fish. And when I mean personal experience, I mean Cappy. As you guys all know Cappy. Let me see if I can bring her out. Come here, Cap. Come on. I don't know if she'll show herself. She's right there. There you go. Anyways, Cappy, she ended up getting some gravel stuck in her mouth, and we had to get tweezers to pull it out. And she would have died if we didn't do anything about it. But it's not like that at all with the Betta fish. Betta fish are never going to nip at their substrate. That's not generally what they do. They don't do that a whole lot. And they also have small mouths too. So you can use pretty much any substrate you want. So you can do sand, gravel, you know, you can do like the big stones. You can do anything that really piques your interest. When it comes to plants in your tank, make sure that if you get fake plants, never get hard plastic plants. What this can actually do is it can harm the fins of your Betta fish. So make sure that any plants you get are silk or just regular live plants usually would be fine too, because those are also soft. When people usually would ask me at the shop, do betta fish need filters? A lot of the times people will say, like other associates in the store will tell you, oh well, they breathe air, so you can, and they do breathe air, so you can just not have a filter. But I do not recommend this. I think that every betta fish should have a filter. What filtering and also bubbles, the bubblers and stuff like that will do is it just creates this great atmosphere for them. And if you have a bubbler in the tank, that creates extra oxygen, and if you have a filter, that filters out the water so it doesn't get too dirty right away. So I would say that your best option is to get something that comes with a filter, or get a filter separately, whatever you have to do, and also get a bubbler if you can too, because it's just all around better for the tank. And in a way, you're actually helping yourself from doing too many water changes. If there's not a filter in a lot of tanks, what happens is your water gets very cloudy and dirty, and in return you would have to change the water just about every other day. And I know that a lot of people wouldn't want to do that. So you're saving yourself a lot of time if you get a filter and a bubbler, which will create extra oxygen for them. If I'm going over my words a little bit, I'm sorry. I don't do anything scripted. I don't know if you guys know that, but I try to keep it very real. And because of that, I just say a lot of uhs and ums, and there's just like words falling all over the place. So excuse me for that. All in all, I think I'm doing pretty good without a script. Something I also recommend getting for your new betta is a hammock. If you don't know what these look like, they're basically just a little leaf with a suction cup attached, and you can put them in their tank. What they'll do is you have to keep the leaf a little bit higher to where the top of the water is, because they'll kind of go up there and breathe some air whenever they're on their hammock, so they can kind of rest on their hammock. If you haven't kept bettas, it might be a little weird for you as well, because goldfish, as you can see, they swim literally all day, and then when the lights are off, you can actually catch them sometimes sleeping. But betta fish are not like that at all. They don't swim around constantly. Now, your betta fish should be swimming around a lot, but they don't do a constant amount of swimming. What they often will do is sometimes they'll rest, and they'll even go to sleep completely still. So please do not tap on the tank if you're worried about them. The only time it's not normal for a betta fish to be at the bottom is if they're at the bottom all the time. The majority of the time should be swimming, but when I first got my bettas, I always thought that when I very first got them, I thought they were like super unhealthy and like dying, because I wasn't used to seeing a fish just like not moving as much as I would like a goldfish or something, because usually we had goldfish only at the time, and I was just used to seeing fish swim constantly. But they're a very, very, very chill type of fish, so it is just how they are, so don't freak out. Betta fish also need heaters. A lot of people don't know this. This is also what I didn't know, and this is also how I messed up. But they do need heaters. Their degrees should be around 80 to 83 Fahrenheit. That's the temperatures they're at now, and it's nice and toasty for them. So also, if you keep heaters, it really just helps, because like when it gets cold wherever you are, they'll already have heaters. But they should have heaters year round, unless it's super hot and it's always around 80 degrees in your room. Then you wouldn't really need a heater. But you should always have a heater for your betta fish on hand, because they need their water temperatures to stay around 80 to 83, like I said. When it comes to water movement, you don't want to have too much water movement. They don't like a whole lot of water movement. That being said, it's okay to have a little bit of bubbles here and there. In Axel's tank back here, I do have little bubbles going by, and sometimes when I feel like it's a little bit too much for him, I sometimes will turn the bubbles a little bit down, so just so it doesn't agitate him too much. But something with a whole lot of bubbles, if you guys have seen like my community tank, I have like bubbles coming out all the time. I have 2 bubblers in there, and those kind of fish don't really mind it that much, but my betta fish would. So your filter and your bubblers shouldn't be too strong of a current and too much movement, because as I told you before, they're very calm, zen type fish. So they're kind of just chill, on the chill side. They're a little bit on drugs sometimes, you know? So you don't want to be disturbing that. When I do a water change for my BETTA fish, as you guys know, it is not safe to use just tap water. Make sure that you always add a dechlorinator when you change your water. So, for instance, when I change my water, I put a couple of drops of Prime. For my 2 gallons, 2 gallons of water should be about 15 to 16 drops. A lot of people will tell you, oh, just use a couple of drops of Prime, but through our experience, if you put too little, it can actually kill the fish rather than if you put too much. It's usually safer for them. If you ever do slip up and forget one water change, which you shouldn't do, but if you ever do, you can also put a couple of drops in Prime in your water, and it'll temporarily make it safe for a little bit until you change the water again. So this basically is what it is called. It's a dechlorinator, so it removes chlorine in your water, all those harsh things that can kill your fish if you just use plain tap water. So it gets all that out of the water, and like I said, it is a temporary relief. So if you were to stay too long without Prime into the tank, you know, eventually, you know, Prime doesn't stay in your tank forever, so you know, you do have to keep re-adding it every week. So, and I just use Prime because it really is just the best dechlorinator. It's super concentrated, and it even says it here, concentrated conditioner for marine and freshwater. So if you do have salt water for any reason, I'm just saying if you do have salt water, you can use Prime as well. Highly recommend Prime, and Seachem does not like pay me to do their products. I just tend to use them because they're usually high quality products. As I told you guys before, when it comes to just about any fish, you do want to be testing your water. So I have ammonia and nitrate here. There's lots of other test kits that you need to get, but you would have to test your water a little bit less when it comes to BETTA fish. They don't produce much waste, so you won't have to be testing for nitrates and such as much, but this comes in handy when you're testing your water. So I would definitely test my water when you first get your BETTA fish tank. After it's been like a few months, most likely your tank will be well established and fine, so you won't have to worry about it quite as much. Still, it's always healthy to test your water in general. Next, if anything ever comes up with your BETTA fish, you are going to have to medicate it. I actually feel that it's very, very, very important when you get any kind of fish to have lots of medications on hand. Some that I recommend are by the API company, erythromycin fungus cure, and I also have one by Mardel called Maricin 2. This treats fin rot, popeye, and dropsy. And erythromycin is for fin and tail rot as well, gill disease, mouth fungus, open red sores, and this is fungus again, eye cloudiness, body slime, fin and tail rot. So those are a few things that I recommend for medicating your BETTA fish. Also, what I would recommend is this. It's called aquarium salt. Sorry, it looks so crappy right now. And there is like a spoon sticking out of there. But this stuff lasts forever, and this will usually help with any kind of fin and tail rot. So when I first got Zen, he was my very first BETTA fish, and like I said, I had him for 2 years. This is sometimes what would help if you have any fin and tail rot problems. And they say that it also helps with gill functioning. So any kind of gill improvement would help, would happen, I mean, if you were to use aquarium salt. If you are keeping 2 male bettas next to each other, try to keep something in between their tank. As you can see, I just have a little something, because it's okay for them to fight a little bit back and forth, but it could stress them out if it happens really, really often. So I wouldn't recommend keeping, if you do keep them together, like, side by side tanks, just make sure that you would have something in between so they don't get stressed out 24/7. This is basically all I can really think of in BETTA fish care. I feel like it's a little more in depth than what most people would do, but I feel like a lot of the stuff I said was very necessary. And if you do end up getting a BETTA fish, please let me know down in the comments and let me know what you think of them. And I'll see you guys later in the next video. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a big thumbs up, especially if you like pets. And I'll see you guys later. Bye! By the way, if you don't like tarantulas, please click off this video now because I'm about to show one, but I did want to give a quick update. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my little baby has gotten a little bigger. I did have a picture on Instagram of her last molt. I think her might be a him, so temporarily I actually had to rename Xena to Zaldin, and everything's been going great with Zaldin, I think. The only reason why I think it might be a boy is because of the very, very slim abdomen. Don't know if you can see that, but very small butt, very slim. I need to feed him again. I think he ate probably not long ago because I don't see the cricket in there anymore. But yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update. I think that he is growing beautifully. I'm so excited. But I just wanted to show you guys that because I was really excited that he molted. And oh, like I was saying, I'm a little upset that I got a male, maybe a male. I'm really leaning towards male. I'll know for sure when the tibial hooks come in, but yeah, I mean, I'm getting to spend a little more time with this tarantula than my old tarantula because my old tarantula was already bigger than this, so his lifespan was probably already getting shorter and shorter as I had him. Whereas Zaldin here, Zaldin / Xena, I still don't know yet. Whereas Zaldin here, I have had for since it's a tiny, tiny baby. So I'm getting to spend a little more time with this little guy more than I did my tarantula that I used to have, my old rosy hair. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update. Sorry about that, and I'll see you guys officially later. Bye!